Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 111 of This Week at Shrouded. I'm your host, AGreeNer, and we've got a bunch of special guests today. We got Thunder, Big Wave Dave, and of course, our co-host, Mr. Rec. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you guys for being here.
Happy to be here.
What?
What the fuck just happened?
Thunder. I think Thunder just died.
Oh, is that what happened? All right, Thunder's dead. Yeah. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, we've got a lot to talk about today. We'll let them figure that out. Anyway, obviously we've got a ton of content creators dropping videos for Edge of Fate, giving us all the details. A weird way to do it, but also an interesting way to include your community and doing all your work for you, so you don't have to write a super ass long blog. Anyway, Twit also came out with some details in it that help put things in context, and we're going to go over probably not all of it because there was a lot of information. I know we're definitely going to focus on armor, weapons, probably do some of the portal stuff, just because you use that directly for weapons and armor, and maybe anything else that we get to. So, anyway, let's get right into it. Whose videos did y'all watch? Let's start there. I'm curious where you guys picked up and what videos you watched to get the Edge of Fate info that you needed, if you watched anything, or if you just pulled it from articles that watched those videos.
I watched all 4 Dado videos. I watched the summary of Aegis's 90-minute preview video. And I watched, I think it was 2 or 3 Walla videos.
Okay.
I watched a couple Dado videos, and I watched a Mr. Waffles video. I didn't watch much else.
Correct.
I watched a bunch of Benny's stuff for the PvP takes. I watched all of Dado's videos. I watched some of Fallout's videos. And who else did I watch? I can't remember. If it was. I think it was Matix.
But so what I'm getting out of this is I probably watched the wrong videos, and I should have watched Dado's videos.
You watched Cactus, didn't you?
No, I watched Mr. Waffles videos.
Oh, that's fine.
Not all of them. I watched the one on. I'm busy. I'm a busy guy. There's no way that I can watch all those videos.
I just
I watched the best I could about the armor, the weapons, the portal, and then I watched some of the video. Everything I liked about the Edge of Fate. I just absolutely ignored everything I didn't like about the Edge of Fate stuff. I hate. I just didn't want to know about it, so I skipped. No, I'm gonna watch it eventually. I just haven't. I haven't gotten to that one yet. So all my takes are going to be 100% positive. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so what did you think of the content delivery? Like, is this an interesting way to deliver the content, utilizing the community and content creators, or would you prefer just a huge dev diary or whatever the fuck they call it, vid doc? With accompanied by just a massive twid.
I prefer the way they're doing it. I mean, they did it last year for Final Shape. It worked. They did it for Lightfall. It worked. The thing is, it's kind of like a trope in trailers, whatever. And the devs are playing the game. They play like fucking robots. So seeing actual people play the game with the new shit is nice. So I prefer the way they're doing it.
I gotta say, I don't know if Mr. Waffles is using his gameplay, but if he is, he's terrible at this game.
Listen, I watched all those videos, so I mean, it was not robotic for sure.
It was so slow. It's just like,
yeah.
I was like, ain't no way that this is the guy that's playing.
I don't think I've actually watched him play the game, so I have no idea.
I prefer having content creators do it. I know not every content creator is like. I mean, it just I feel like the whole I kind of agree with Thunder. Just it kind of caters to people who play the game like 24/7, almost 24/7, and know the game a little bit more. I understand that they develop it, but not all people play their developer games.
Oh wow, I just had like massive deja vu.
What?
Like when the way you just explained the content creators, they play the game, and it makes a lot more sense for us as Destiny gamers to get their perspective rather than the devs' perspective on the changes. Like it was like I've had this conversation before. Need more. Wow. Anyway, cool.
I prefer to
Maybe
get
we
my
did.
information without a bunch of editorializing. I would like Bungie to supply a ViDoc and a TWID that has the actual numbers and not have to rely on videos to report those numbers, especially when there have been some cases already where different videos reported different numbers.
To be honest, just because of this podcast, I would have liked like a very like here is everything all in one spot, read it, enjoy, rather than here's 14 different videos. I'm just like, holy shit, there's so much stuff. I don't have time.
I would
for
like
all
them to
this.
do both. I would like them to do a ViDoc and a weekly TWID that's got the information in it, plus the videos on top of it. I think they should do both. Personally.
Yeah. And we did get a TWID with some information, but clearly it doesn't have. It's got a fraction of what is actually happening at Edge of Fate.
Bro, their TWID is a link to a bunch of videos that other content creators did. They didn't write a TWID. They just said, here's some videos.
Okay. I just don't see why they couldn't do both. Like, have a TWID and like that.
Don't expect it from them ever.
Yeah, that's very true.
The only thing I want to call out as being really good by doing this for the content creators is that the changes to prismatic fragments, the number of fragments aspects provide came out way earlier than it probably would have, and it allowed for time for the community to be like, hey, wait a minute, this is bad, please don't do this. And they've changed it. They haven't completely reversed course, but they modified what they were going to.
Yeah, they modified that pretty quick. They're like, oh, let's change it. That's the strength of DMG. I feel it's such a good well, maybe there's more people that are doing what he is. He's just the most vocal about it. But I feel like it's been a complete light and day difference since he took back over in the 24th January or June last year, making changes based on community feedback. And that was another one right there. And he's the one that I announced. I saw it. His tweet. His tweet was the one that said, we're listening. Take a look. And that's where I saw it. And I was like, oh, damn. I didn't even care. Mainly because I don't play Titan, but. Sorry.
I mean, you should care. It affects everybody, what they've done. And now Titans are going to be fine. The other two classes got some strays with the other adjustments they made.
Maybe I didn't read it all. All I remember is people complaining about concentration knockout.
I don't know that Hellion needed a nerf.
It really didn't.
It doesn't.
The most surprising one to me is fucking stylish. Like, yeah, stylish is the best hunter aspect, but it's not like over-tuned by any means. Like, hunter did not need to get touched, man. It's already hard enough to be a good hunter player. So yeah, let's just nerf him. Like, oh, sure, man.
Yeah, hunter, like playing hunter in anything like high end is miserable.
Yeah.
I mean,
is that why I'm terrible at the game?
No, it's not that. Hunter just by far, it's the class you have to like use your brain to not die on, Like Titan, just press melee, you win. Warlock, press melee, you win. Hunter, you have to spam Ascension and do this and that and the Strand melee. You have to do a bunch of shit to not die in Hunter. So them nerfing Hunters just made it was just really weird. I don't know.
The approach they took to adjust the class just strikes me as weird. The only thing that was really problematic is the consecration build on Titans. And they could have fixed that without adjusting aspects. All they needed to do is be like, hey, if you use your Consecration Slam, you use all your melee charges. Boom. Problem
Or
fixed.
literally just make Consecration do like 2 damage to bosses or like big guys, You can still ad clear with it, but you can't like, fucking solo a raid boss. Like that's literally all they have to do.
Yeah.
It's. I think like one of the things I thought about was like what's like the big difference between like the Warlock's version of Consecration with the Arc Slide versus, and like the big thing to me is just the ignitions. Getting the big ignitions off like just makes so much of a difference versus just like sliding in and just hitting a bunch of like enemies in a single area with an arc attack. But yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna focus on certain things. I know we just got into the nerfs that they got, but mostly they reverse course on. They didn't fully revert, but yeah. But that's not the big changes anyway. I don't even know. Like we've known kind of the concept of what was going to be happening with weapons and armor, and but we've got like the specific details. So I don't know if you want to start with armor.
What do you want to start with, Greener? It's your show.
Armor, my
right,
show.
Armor it is.
Armor 3.0. And I guess that leads directly into all of our new stats. Obviously, the gear tiering, Armor 3.0, new stats, what they do, and yeah.
Shall we explain what everything does and then get some thoughts? I have it all here. It's all written down.
Go ahead.
All right. So armor's going to come in tiers. We all know that. It's going to be tier 1 through 5. At tier 1, the lowest you'll be able to have is 48 points. At tier 5, the highest you'll be able to have is 75 points with just base stats. Okay. Tier 5 armor will have a random focus stat and a stat tuning socket that will allow you to either add 1 to the 3 lowest stats on the armor or 5 to the focus stat, but while taking a penalty to one of your other stats on the armor, right? Tier 4 and Tier 5 armor will both be able to have 11 energy. The focus stat on your Tier 5 armor is going to be completely random. It won't have anything to do with the stats that are on the armor. So you could have a health plus class item armor with a third stat in weapons, but the focused stat on the armor could roll super, right? So there's a bunch of RNG in there. Armor is going to come in archetypes. So think like weapon frames, except for armor now, right? And the archetypes are going to determine what your primary and secondary stats are. I don't know that we need to go into all of them, but the main thing to keep in mind here is that there are some combinations of primary and secondary stat that you cannot get with the current archetypes. For instance, like weapons, if you want to max your weapon skill, the only way you can get that as a stat, a primary or secondary stat, is either the gunner armor, which will have weapons primary and grenades secondary, or the specialist armor, which will have class ability as primary and weapons as secondary. There's no other way. Like you can't get a weapons plus super. The way the math works is that your maximum base stats on tier 5 armor will be 75. Mod can add 10. Masterwork can add 15. If you use balance tuning, that can add another 3. Makes the max stats 103. That will make it so you have 515 stat points if you're not using exotic armor. 512 if you are using an exotic, because exotic armors won't be able to take balance tuning. And what this means is that 2 times 200 stats is theoretically possible, but you'll be giga gimping all of your other stats. And 3 times 200 is absolutely impossible. You won't be able to do it unless there's some really heavy buffs inside fragments that allow that to happen. So, and then class items are also going to have stats now. They're going to be the only armor pieces that do not convert to the new armor system. So none of your existing class items will have any stats on them, except for your exotic class items. They will get an archetype that's based off the 2 exotic perks they have. There you go. That's the
Okay. So lots of thoughts. Obviously, I'm sure we all have them. Thoughts on archetypes. Just being able to, you can focus farm the ones that you want, really, essentially now.
There's a
Whereas
ghost
there was
mod that will focus the archetypes. Yeah.
Well, I even mean like the way the seasonal armor works now, like we'll know what the archetype is when we're using our engrams to unlock them.
You don't.
You'll probably know what the archetypes are in. Are they not the same, or are they random?
We don't know that. So one of the new sets
See,
is called
I just assumed
one of
that
the
a
new sets is
set-
called the Bushido set, right? But
Okay,
Bushido
yeah.
set can come in Bulwark, Gunner, Specialist, Paragon, Brawler, Grenadier. It still has the same set bonuses, but the armor archetype can be different.
See, now I'm less excited because I thought, like, say, for example, Ron, I thought, we would just know what the archetypes were for that armor. So if that was something you wanted, you can go and focus farm it.
That's not my understanding. Did anybody else have a different understanding of that?
No, I believe you. I just assumed that's the way they would do it. I never looked into it.
For like the good archetype of armor, they made you play Edge for it. That'd be hilarious. You just force people to play Edge for the good armor.
I just thought it would be interesting. The reason I thought that, because in my brain I was like, if they do a seasonal activity like Solstice, for example, they could be like, oh, here's a new archetype and this armor drops with it.
No,
something
you
that
can
would
mix
give
and
me-
match. So,
Lame.
I should also mention that armor now has set bonuses, right? If you wear 2 pieces of armor, there's going to be 1 set bonus, and if you wear 4 pieces of an armor from the same set, there's another bonus that you can get. But you'll be able to mix and match those bonuses if you're mix and matching your armor.
Okay. You can mix the 2 2s, obviously.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I guess that makes more sense. If everything was static, then all the stuff with the shitty, like the stuff that nobody wants, would never be played. So it makes more sense to be random. Yeah, now that you say it. Damn. Me dumb.
The archetypes are a big downer for me. That's the only big downer in the armor set for me personally.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the whole archetype thing.
Okay.
That's the only thing I think gets in the way of doing some of the build crafting. I would rather just raw dog the RNG to get the 2 or 3 stats that I want, rather than have to be like, I want weapons, so I got to decide, do I want weapons and grenade or weapons and class ability, and then hope I get super, right?
Do you think they did that just because they wanted to be able to control how powerful we could be?
No, I think they did it because they don't want a situation like we have now. If I could get weapons and super as the first and second stat, the primary and secondary stat on my armor, once I was able to complete that set, unless set bonuses were incredibly compelling, I'm done. I don't need to farm armor anymore. I'm good. They don't want that to happen.
But I think that's just going to be a result, like an end result, no matter what, like what set up they have. Like you're always going to, like, people are going to find out the meta. They're always going to farm the meta, and then those people are going to stick with the meta, like regardless of what happens. That's just how I see it happening. Like that end result's always going to be present.
It's going to happen anyway too with the random third stat. Like you're eventually going to get weapons and super on every one of your things, and then you're going to be done. So
I think the grind will take longer with these archetypes in there, so that's going to result in more playtime. Which is probably
the grind will take longer, and they're actually giving us fake incentive to farm each season for new armor with that new bonus to new armor, whatever it's called.
It's the artifact bonus.
Yeah, it's the artifact mods with the bonus to new weapons and new armor. Now, they actually give us a reason to utilize seasonal weapons, seasonal armor, as opposed to old stuff. So it's going to artificially shift the meta just by making everything 15% stronger from an artifact mod if it came out in the last 6 months. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's whatever. Pretty much like for every episode, like of Final Shape, there's been an episodic thing that came out, or like a shift. You know, like that. Like Heresy has just been Queenbreaker and Little Wolves. Revenant was Sanguine and like the Exterior shit. Echoes was like Still Hunt. So we've kind of gotten into a loop of just like a seasonal or episodic thing kind of being the thing for a few months, and then it shifts to whatever. So it's not like it's changing. I mean, even like Wish. I mean, Sunshot. People just ran Sunshot for 6 months, and then the Wish artifact went away, and we went back to T-Ghoul. So I mean, not much different.
I think it only matters if you want to be absolutely 100% optimal. I don't think a 15% damage bonus is that big of a deal. And I don't think a 15% DR, assuming you're running all tier 5 new armor, is that big of a deal. Survivability is not really a big deal in Destiny in general anymore, honestly.
Yeah.
Try playing Honor.
Yeah. Again, if you get good with it, Hunter's also easy to survive on. But you know, again, like I said, it's the only class that takes brain power. Problem with Hunter is they have like 2 good things for survivability. It's either like Conviction or like Cowl. That's it. That's kind of Hunter's issue.
Yeah.
But also the whole like the whole like seasonal bonus thing, like for damage meta and PvE, right? That depends on what, like, you know, if there's not like a good heavy weapon, right, for the new shit, then like the meta's not really going to change much. Because like, yeah, 15% on like primaries, whatever, right? But on heavy weapons, 15% is a big deal. That's comparing like Vorpal to, you know, elemental honing. So yeah, if there's like a busted ass GL or rocket, and then we get, you know, a 50% increase to that, then yeah, I mean, it's over. But yeah, on most things, 15% isn't a lot.
I mean, is it enough to really matter if you're not specifically trying to go out there and one phase everything?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's just the game in general. You can just put on whatever. Most bosses in the game are fucking power crept to shit, so you just put on whatever and they're gonna die. So, but obviously most endgame players like to use the best of the best stuff, just because, like, why would you not, really, you know?
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm thinking of. Like, I'm thinking of specific players that, you know, people that are soloing, you know, Ron, whatever, Nezarect, you know, they're looking for that extra 8 HP per shot would, like, that everybody'd be using that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Exactly.
But
So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I was thinking of. And I guess that is a smaller portion of the community. But yeah, anyway, so that's what I was thinking about when I was thinking mostly about the 15% damage buff. Okay, well, we're still talking about armor, so that's great. So we got a little bit in the weapons there. Let's push away from that and move over to like the stat distribution. Now is completely changed. New names, new everything, new set bonus or new bonuses. Everything is different.
Okay.
All right. So we got. Well, I mean.
I got that.
I mean, if you're gonna do it all, we got weapons, health, class, melee, grenade, and super now instead of mobility, resilience, recovery, strength, discipline, and intellect. And now Rect is gonna go over what each of them do.
All right. So stats. First thing, mobility, resilience, and recovery have been mostly normalized. What we have now, in regards to what we have now, is going to be normalized across all characters. When Edge of Fate drops. What that means is that your base HP for all Guardians and your base recovery rate for all Guardians is going to be equivalent to tier 100 resilience, so the max 230 hit points, and tier 60 recovery. Not really a way to increase those specifically. Health kind of sort of does recovery kind of sort of, but it's not exactly the same as what we have now. For your base movement, everybody except for hunters is going to be at what a tier 30 mobility currently gives in terms of stray speed, jump height, that kind of stuff. Hunters are going to be at tier 40. So it's not completely leveled across everything. Some people already complaining about that, but remember that Titans already do 5% more damage with melees, so I presume that bonus is going to carry on. The only ones that get fucked by this right now are Warlocks, really. Stats will
suck
range
anyway.
from 0 to 200. There's no such thing as wasted stats anymore. All bonuses for stats are calculated linearly, meaning every point adds the same amount of bonus. So if you get a 3% bonus for 1 point, you're at 6% for 2, 9% for 3, so on and so forth. So you don't have to, there's no breakpoints. Every point's going to give you something.
Break points were fucking stupid.
There's the basic bonus that you get for 0 to 100 on your stats, and then there's enhanced stats, which is 101 to 200. For health, 0 to 100 controls how much health you gain on orb pickup and provides flinch resistance. And obviously that scales, right? Everything I mentioned is going to scale. From 101 to 200, it increases your shield restart, your shield recharge speed, and adds some additional hit points in PvE. For melee, grenade, and super, they all basically function the same. 0 to 100 controls how quickly you regen ability energy and increases ability energy gains from all sources. So if you have an exotic armor that's giving you ability energy, whatever that scalar is going to be multiplied by whatever your stat scalar is, right? And so that's going to be those will play together. And then from 201 to 200, it increases the damage of those particular abilities. For class, 0 to 100 controls how quickly you regenerate the ability energy. And again, it increases ability gains from all sources. But from 101 to 200, when you use your class ability, you'll get an overshield. And the overshield can be up to 40 points, depending on where your stat is at. One thing, and then weapons, 0 to 100 increases weapon reload and handling speed. 101 to 200 increases your weapon damage, both in PvE and PvP. Now, I do want to make a note here, and this was something that was mentioned in pretty much all of the videos that I watched. The change in ability regen rates between 0 and 100 is super, super noticeable. And at base, at 0, your regen rate is significantly lower than what we experience now. So if you don't invest into grenade or super or melee, those abilities will take a lot longer to build up. Dado even mentioned in one of his videos that playing a regular short strike with 0 super stat, he did not get a super the entire strike. So you'll want to keep that in mind. Dumping these stats will feel bad. There you go. That's the loading.
All right. Okay, my opinion on this stuff is I'm glad there's no breakpoints. I always hated the 5-10 breakpoint. Stupid. Or I guess just 10 breakpoint, not 5-10. Just 10. Every 10 every 10 every 10. So you'd waste a lot of stats. So I think it's really cool that all the stats are none of the stats are wasted. I think it's super annoying that I can't get 200 on everything. I want to I want to be, as strong as you possibly can be in everything. I don't know exactly what I'm going to be picking up on this one. Builds are obviously going to be different from PvE to PvP, but it's going to take.
Will anybody in here disagree that weapons is like the most important stat in the game based off what we've seen so far?
I mean,
does anybody here disagree with that?
Everything I'm thinking of, always has at least a very high weapon stat at the very minimum.
The stat I think will be the best potentially is super, because of one specific exotic armor piece.
But I mean, the handling, the reload and handling speeds on weapons are well. I guess reload's not as important in a lot of cases. I think reload and handling is really important for PvE. or PvP, and then of course there's going to be the damage on. I guess it was where you look at it, right? It is important, but also I think that has more implications in Crucible than it does. Well, it has the same implications.
It can be.
I'm looking at the
up to
damage bricks too. So PvE is really important for ammo generation, I guess, and damage. And then handling is usually pretty important when you're trying to do boss rotations. So yeah, I think that's pretty important. But then you also have reload and handling, and then damage to players in Crucible. That's all really important too. And now I know that was a big point of contention of these stats having implications of to damage in Crucible. So just because you're talking about the weapon stat, how was the Crucible community when that was officially confirmed?
Let me add that the weapon stat over 100 also gives you more. It gives an escalating higher chance to get more ammo on brick pickup than what you would have gotten either was. So there's that. There's also that. 6% in PvP is enough to make adaptive pulses 2 burst, making them pretty much the fastest TTK in the game. That's not a special. So it has big implications, especially since you can no longer use resilience to force TTK breaks in PvP. So that lever is gone. Like players can't mess with that lever. So the weapon stat is probably going to be the single most important stat for most PvP players.
Iggy's gonna 2-tap. It's so over.
With the right perks,
dead.
yep.
It's so over.
I'm assuming there's going to be some weapon tuning for PvP. I hope there's going to be some weapon tuning for PvP. Because there's going to be with movement speed coming down across the board because of the mobility changes. And the lethality on some very forgiving, easy to use, long range guns going up. It's going to kind of push Crucible to be more of a laning situation more of the time, because even guys who are used to like in high level PvP, like hugging a wall and peak shooting with hand cannons, there are some pulse rifles that, because your strafe speed is going to be slower, you might get 2 bursted on that peak. It might just happen. So I don't know. I think the end result, if there's not some weapon tuning that also happens, is it's going to slow down the PvP side of the game, and it's going to make it feel a lot less fun, especially in higher level PvP when people are using their movement more often.
I agree. We're, in my opinion, the worst PvP. Like the worst PvP has been in the entire 10 or whatever 11 years of the game. Like PvP is miserable right now. And this expansion, it could make it way worse. Like PvP could like it's gonna be bad if they don't change some shit. There is gonna be, and PvE there definitely is damage changing. It's not the percentage, right? It's like a Xenophage shot, right, on Templar. It does right now 20, 30k a shot. It's only gonna do 2 or 3k when the expansion launches. But as far as we know, the percentage is not gonna change. So Xeno will still do 1% of Templar's health per shot, right? Assuming that's how it's gonna work. So yeah, PvP maybe the same thing happens, but we'll see.
No idea. I guess we'll know when we get our hands on it for sure, what it's all going to feel like. Okay, so that was mobility. I have to say I do like the resilience being fixed at 100 and recovery fixed at 60, because I would always sacrifice recovery for whatever else I needed in the top. Well, mobility, really. That's a hunter. So it was really annoying. And I was quite frequently go below 60. So,
dude, my my Lightning Surge Warlock, it has 8 recovery, not 80 like tier 8, 8 singular digit 8 recovery, so I can get 100 Rezil and Strength. So yeah, I'm glad that that's gonna just have plus 6 tiers of recov for free. So that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. I think I was in the same boat with a lot of my Warlock builds. Everybody's like, "Oh, how's your Warlock operating at less, like below tier 1 recovery?" I'm like, I don't know, man.
It's this cool thing called the Restoration subclass thing, where I don't really have to have recovery.
It's called Restoration ×2 plus Ever Living dude. Thanks,
It's
man.
called the Speaker Side Exotic Helmet.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite to them in PvP. I only run.
PvP is the whole nother thing.
I only run resilience on my Titan. Everyone else is like 2.
Yeah, PvP. I think I have like on my Titan, I have like tier 6 Rezil, and then my Hunter, I have like tier 3 or 4 right now.
I still play PvP.
Yeah, don't play PvP. You don't want to trust.
Yeah, I keep hearing from other people how miserable it is right now, and I'm just like, yep.
I guilded Iron Lord and played a couple comp matches. Like I did like probably 10 comp matches maybe in total. Yeah, it's abysmal. Don't play it.
I don't run any recovery in PvE at all. It's all how much resilience can I get right off the bat? That's first. Every time.
PvE is flipped. PvE just 100 Rezil, PvP 100 recov. I mean, same thing, just flipped. Recov and then whatever stat you want, and just fuck off about Rezil.
Well, yeah. In PvP on my Hunter, I run 100 recovery, 100 mobility, and typically it's pretty close to 100 discipline and as high intellect as I can get. If I'm running trials, I switch the intellect to 100 and just run whatever discipline I can get. PvE is completely different. You know, it's resilience and mobility for my Hunter, and the typically discipline. Because I don't really give a shit about.
I don't need stats. I play Titan mostly in PvE right now, so I just concentrate everything.
Stats are a lot more of a PvP thing.
That's when my. Oh well, okay. Well, not for me because I'm bad. Anyway, I had a point to saying all this. Now I forgot what it was. Fuck. Anyway, those are my stat distributions now. Oh, I was gonna say you keep saying Crucible's worse, but I've played more Crucible during episode 3 than I have in my entire Destiny career. I don't know why it's not that bad for me, but I enjoy it. I think it's just high end Crucible is bad.
It does depend on type of player you are and what you like, because like the meta right now is literally impregnating a wall and shooting a pulse rifle from 85 Bajuki yards away with RDMs. So if you like, again, like wall fucking with a hand cannon or like with a 120 or a pulse, yeah, it's awesome. But like most people don't really like that. So I guess it does depend on what type of PvP you like, I guess. Because I prefer, PK Titan, fucking SMG shotgun, just, fucking face fucking whoever I can find. So having to sit with, having to sit across a map with a pulse is not very fun.
In low and mid tier lobbies, people tend to want to use pulse rifles still, right? Because they're very forgiving, they're easy to use. You can be well back and still take people out. That's why S-Stock's been so popular even now after all the nerfs, right? It's just so easy to use and you can do it from relative safety, right? The higher you get into PvP skill lobbies, the more movement you're going to see. The more people are going to be peek shooting with hand cannons and moving. More people are going to be doing aerial gunplay that actually works because they know how to shoot people while they're in the air, or they've built around airborne effectiveness. So the current meta that encourages, even in high skill lobbies, for people to have an advantage by using long range use weapons is not fun for most of those folks, right? And it doesn't look like it's going to get any more fun, at least at the launch of Edge of Fate.
Yeah, and I have also played the most PvP, even if it was just guilding Iron Lord and playing a few comp matches. That's by far the most PvP I played all like expansion. I played a little bit in Echoes. I didn't touch it at all in Revenant, and I played like even if it was like a week, I still played a lot more than I usually do in that 1 week this episode.
I think before today or before this episode, maybe the most I've ever prestiged my Crucible rank was 3 times, and I'm over 10 this season. So
Yeah.
it's significantly more. And that's mostly trials, to be honest. I really liked the trials changes. But now I haven't done it in a few weeks because I got everything that I wanted, to be honest.
Yeah, that's
So-
what I did. I played the fuck out of it the first week of the rework, got everything I wanted, and haven't been in there since because there's just nothing to get.
I'm usually 9 or 10 resets for Shacks and like 6 or 7 for Iron Banner. Trials are not as much because I don't play it as much, but I'm one step away from gilding my flawless this season, which is unusual for me.
I don't even know how many times I've prestiged trials, but it's a lot. Definitely, in the past, it's never been more than once, and I'm at, at least 10. I've got to at least be 10. I played so many matches like the first 5 weeks of trials. At least 200 to 300 every weekend.
All right.
I feel
Well,
like.
I wanna ask what people think are going to be important stat splits going forward, and what you're going to be looking for specifically. How you think you're going to try to balance your stuff, knowing how regenerates work, and maybe what you guys think about regenerates being dog shit if you don't build into a stat.
So I guess I'll go first because I'll probably be the most negative out of everybody. In general, I think this whole armor change is really weird. Like there's so many other issues with the game right now to take what is a non-issue for most people, which is just how the armor system works, and then make it a whole new thing. It just seemed really random and not needed at all, and especially since like literally in the TWID they say like your current armor, like it's going to be fine for the day one raid, like your ship's going to transfer over decently well, and pretty much all of like the stats we already use in PvE are going to transfer into the good ones for the new system. So really it's kind of like a big nothing burger, at least for the first week of the expansion. The one thing I'm looking at is for the super stat. From 100 to 200 it increases your super ability damage. So at 200 super stat, you get 45% more super damage or super ability damage. So the meta right now is using Sanguine, putting a well down and holding mouse 1 with either Lord of Wolves or Queenbreaker. The reason why is because when you're standing in a well, it makes your weapons do super ability damage for some reason.
Yeah.
So you get 4 surges. Like, let's say you put down a well, you swap to Prismatic with the Arc Super on, right? You get 4 times surges on your Queenbreaker. And if it works the same, if you have 200 super stat, you're going to be doing 45% more damage with Queenbreaker in a well. So granted, we do have like it's 28% from Particle Recon right now, so that'll jump up to 45 if it's still working. So
it won't exactly be 45 because it's probably a multiplicative stack, right?
well, just I'm looking at the Twitter right now. It says super 100 to 200, 0 to 45%. So
Yeah. But damage bonuses are typically multiplicative, right? They don't just add on to one another in
yeah,
Destiny.
for surge mods, yeah, but because this is the armor stat, I'm assuming it's just
I would wager that it's going to be multiplicative. I would be my guess.
We'll
So
see, but at least just
I mean, it's still a lot. It's still a lot.
Just from how I'm reading it on the TWID, 200 is going to be 45% super ability damage. If well doesn't change and it makes your weapons do super ability damage, technically, again, 45% Lord of Wolves will get 45% just from putting a well down and holding mouse 1. Queenbreaker, you have to swap to Prismatic or Arc, sure, but still, 45% extra damage just from holding mouse 1. I mean, we're already in a Sanguine meta. I feel like it'll just go even crazier. I have a feeling 6 Sanguine locks could just fucking annihilate the raid, maybe, depending on how I think it's going to work is right. So we could be entering a hard Warlock meta if what I think is going to happen happens.
Yeah, that I totally forgot about the whole Sanguine thing, and it's like, yeah, if something doesn't change there, like the big thing that about raiding is literally like a hunter can do like a rotation like with his golden gun and still not match a warlock standing still and holding M1.
Yeah,
it's very simplified right now. which is
Also, for the weapon stat, it says at 200 will get 10% extra damage for heavy weapons against bosses. Are bosses just like champs and yellow bars, or like raid bosses considered ultras still?
I don't know.
Okay, well, assuming they're the word they use bosses attributes to like raid bosses, then if you have 200 of the weapon stat, you get another 10% for your heavy weapon. So 55% from standing in a well and holding mouse one with Quick Breaker. Like that could be insane.
Maybe more if there's a good heavy that you can pick up by them from the new content.
Yeah,
Maybe
Yeah,
another
with
15% on
another
top of that.
15.
15 from God forbid they put a solar grenade launcher with like honing or bait and switch and like our arsenal or whatever. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
Like there's a non-zero chance the raid bosses just get fucking like just skull fucked on day one.
Well, no,
Turns out they planned for that and the HP pools accommodate it. And then nobody can do shit.
Jillian hell.
nobody can do shit except for the 1% that knows how to like perfectly utilize all those systems together. Yeah,
I mean,
that'd be great.
the system is have 200.
And he has 16 billion health.
I mean, the system is put a 200 super stat, put down a well, hold mouse one with Lord of Wolves. That would be the system. That's not hard to do, even for people who aren't familiar with the game.
I assure you that's hard for some people.
Sure, whatever. But I mean, for people who have a brain, right?
Yeah.
It's not very nice.
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
We are very nice and understanding to terrible players here on this podcast.
Yes, shout out the terrible players for
I
boosting
didn't
my
agree.
shout out the terrible players for boosting my KD and Iron Banner. Appreciate you guys. I had a 2.0 this episode. Thanks, guys.
I mean, within a couple of weeks of the new content dropping, I'm going to be posting LFGs that are going to say, must have all tier 5 weapons and armor or get out.
Do you even post LFGs? You always talk about saying something ridiculous. But
I can.
The only times I played with Rec is when I DM him to do something with me.
I'm not gonna lie. I think out of the 2 years I've been in Shrouded, I think I've seen you post in a PvE LFG maybe twice.
That, you know what? Listen, I'm not going to call anybody specific out, but there's a reason that I mostly play with folks who are known quantities. Like normally when I jump into Destiny, it's because I have there's something specific I want to do, and I want to get it done with the minimum amount of fuss if I can avoid it. Like if somebody sets up, if somebody wants to do like a teach, I will do it. I was helping to teach last night. Thunder was part of it. So I will definitely do that stuff if I know about it, if it gets set up and the help is needed. But when I'm playing for myself, I want to get something done. And so I want people with me that are also trying to get the same thing done and that I know how they play. Listen, maybe that's me being an elitist, but I don't want to waste my time trying to do stuff.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, raid setup is an LFG after all. It's looking for guardians. So once you have a friend group of guardians, there's no point in going back there unless you beat somebody.
It's not even just raids though. Like if I want to do GMs and none of my friends want to do them, there've been a couple of times where I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna ping out in our server LFG channel to get some people to do some GMs. And man, listen, again, I'm not gonna name names, but I've had some experiences, man. I've had some experiences that I don't want to repeat. And it's not even if it's like one person that you gotta throw in the backpack. But when you do that and you get two people that you need, I'm a competent Destiny player, but I'm not like the best Destiny player. Like I can do what I need to do most of the time, but Thunder might be able to backpack two people through a GM. I ain't backpacking two people through a GM. That's not happening.
No, I don't blame you at all for that stuff. When I'm playing Destiny and I want to get stuff done, like the other day when I want to do Ultimatum, I just hop into a Souls chat and be like, hey, who wants to carry me through Ultimatum? And then people usually speak up. Same thing. GMs, I think last season I did them with you and Hoppy, maybe. I think so, right? Does that sound right? There was a season I did them with Brig and Patient, and we did them so fast, it's almost like somebody was cheating.
I couldn't hold that one in.
Interesting.
Holy shit!
Oh,
Something that, please.
please.
Please somebody hit the clip button and make that. Oh,
Anyway, and then I think I did him with All Gamer and shit. He's Drake once, I think. Anyway, usually people that are typically fairly good at the game, but you know, I approach them. I approach them pretty early. And
listen, it's not about people being good. It's about
not
just
good,
knowing how
but
people. It's
knowing
just
how they play. Yeah.
It's just about knowing how somebody plays, right? And there are some people I know how they play that I would not choose to do hard content with.
I'm glad you guys got a kick out of them, by the way. I did not think it was going to get that kind of reaction. I thought it would get a chuckle, but Jesus.
Yeah, and I mean, Rect, I use Raid as an example because obviously it's a 6-player activity, right? Yeah, like when I first joined Shrouded the first, like, let's call it a year. Yeah, I was in raid setup all the time. I mean, I'd do 15 raids a week when I first joined, just because there were 5 raids at the time, so I could just do 3 of each and boom. But after, again, let's call it a year, I got a group of people in Wardens at the time, and we just kind of became a raid team. I then joined a day 1 team after that, and yeah, I only ping in raid setup now if I need somebody late at night, or if I just literally go through all of my DMs, all of my friends list, and find nobody. And again, I'm even worse than you. Some activities, like day 1s, even master raids or flawless raids, I'm picky on who I run those things with. I've been asked plenty of times to help with a flawless raid, and I look at the team and I just go no, just because I don't feel like wasting my time in a flawless raid with people I don't know. We don't have chemistry, right? I can't expect them to do things. I just don't know if they're going to. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with once you have people to play with, not going to LFG if you don't have to.
Now that doesn't mean I don't play with those people. But when Pantheon was around, I was in a lot of runs helping people that probably shouldn't have Godslayer, who couldn't gotten Godslayer on their own, trying to backpack them through. And I'm totally down to do that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
it's got to be a specific. It's got to be a specific circumstance with specific people trying to accomplish whatever the thing is.
Didn't you help a bunch of people get their day 1 Ron, and then nobody would help you?
Yes.
Does that sound familiar?
I helped a double-digit number of people finish various encounters, and then all I ended up having left was final, and I couldn't get one of them. Not one of them that I helped to help me get mine taken care of. So it's all right though. It's whatever. I'm not salty about it.
Yeah, dude, I also helped plenty of people get their Pantheon. I mean, the Grim Pantheon runs were insane. I know Wave, you were there too.
Yeah.
We helped so many people get Godslayer. But I mean, also we're all guilty of running with certain people. I mean, the Pantheon streams, we had a fucking god team for those Pantheon carries.
Well, I was on it, so it wasn't that big a god team.
Well, duh, because you're the guy. But I mean, the other 5 people. I mean,
I'm just kidding.
Those teams were insane.
Yeah, those were pretty good. And we weren't even trying, and we got some of those done really, really quickly. I remember a couple 17, 18-minute runs, which was pretty good. And I'm sure if we actually buckled in and tried to do it even faster, we could have. Yeah, no, that was interesting. Hopefully, Grim at some point learned that if you click the flag too fast, the people don't get credit for the clear.
He did right after your run.
He did.
I would have been 100% guilty of probably being somebody who ended up with Godslayer that didn't earn it. However, I had to do week 3 Rulk and week 4
Nezarec.
Riven. Well, I had to do Riven and Nezarec, I think. But Riven was the harder one. On my own with an LFG. So I earned it. I earned it all on my own. Especially the week 3 Rulk, week 3 and week 4, where this is probably the hardest encounters in the Pantheon. I would say, in
I
my opinion.
would
Rolk was the hardest encounter in Pantheon by far.
That's not even close. Yeah,
like everything else was like borderline easy even on contest, but Rolk on even the third week was pretty rough.
Yeah, and I'm not mad because I'm not like a huge gatekeeper, but I find it really annoying that the hardest encounter had the stairs cheese, and that so many people got past that because they were cheesing it.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean that's like my main complaint of like the contest dungeons have been amazing so far, but that's my big complaint. Each one had like a bug or something you could abuse to make it easier, and I was like, oh, well, that's cringe.
Yeah.
Listen, Destiny players are like water. All right, they will always find the path of least resistance to get to wherever they need to go. All right, just
path
how
of least
it is.
resistance reference.
I was gonna say trace rifle resistance.
Yeah,
Arc trace rifle reference.
Yeah. Anyway, that was all right. Yeah, we've definitely gotten way off track. Okay, so we've covered some armor, we've covered some stats.
Wait. We didn't get Wave's take on the stats. We got Thunder's, and then we got off on a tangent.
See, we're so far away that I totally forgot.
Well, I share kind of a similar opinion of Thunder. I just think the whole thing's gonna just require way more just like thought into what you get and what you like have to use. You know, I think having like, for example, like I think the super stats and the weapon stat are going to be like overwhelmingly like what people use, especially in raid content. I see people like specking a little bit into like melee and grenade, but I think they're going to spec into it enough to where the cooldowns are just kind of like what they were before like the changes were made. I don't see people like specking into it unless like a certain, like for example, the only time I see people specking into like the grenade tree is Warlock Verity's Brow on Atheon. That's it. Like that's like the only time I would see that happen. I just see people probably going 200 on weapons and trying to find a way to go 200 on supers, and pretty much everything else kind of gets pushed to the side. I think regardless, no matter what happens in like no matter what they do with the armor changes, people are going to find the meta, people are going to stick to the meta, and people are going to reach that point where they don't have any more armor to farm, and that's going to be it.
What if like 100 grenade energy plus like sun bracers allows you to throw like 23 grenades? You know what I mean? There might be something there. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess, but
well, they'd have to shorten the throwing grenade fucking animation by a lot because the animation takes like a whole second to do.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, if by some reason like you putting in like overwhelmingly like high amounts of like grenade damage like to certain bosses, I could see it being like turning around and becoming a grenade meta, but just like with the way the game is like currently, pretty much people just like they cast their suit, like especially with like the way Hezin's is right now, you cast your super, you fire your rocket, cast your super, fire 2, then just go on a damn weapon rotation. If you could stick a grenade or a melee in that rotation, then you do, but otherwise like not many people do.
Yeah, I feel like the one thing I kind of like about the new armor shit over the old one was more variety on how you farm armor. Because, like, yeah, Solstice is cool for new players, but if we're being real armor farming, you go to Zolmak and you put on a ghost thing, and then you kill Zolmak over and over again. So having designated spots for specific stats is cool, besides just farming the Pit of Heresy boss over and over again, because that's like the only place. Because if you or like play like Episode Echoes, just slop dog shit for good armor, which I mean no one's doing. So
yeah.
Here's my I think my biggest thing with the stats is how it's going to tie into like build crafting culture. Like, listen, some guys who like do a lot of high end stuff, like they're going to go to whatever the meta is. Everybody's going to discover the meta, or it's going to be pretty obvious once they're there, and that's what like the high end players are going to use for PvE. Just period, right? We all know that's how it works right now. But there's a whole there's a whole community that is built around coming up with builds that just anybody can use for general activity. Like Mactic's whole thing is build videos, and there's a whole lot of streamers that are like him that just post build videos, right? And in my opinion, that kind of content caters mostly to folks that either don't want to go to the effort of learning how certain combinations of things work for whatever reason, right? I don't want to say they're stupid or lazy, but they may just not be interested in figuring out how that stuff works, right? Some other people, when I've talked to about this, have given me very direct and very harsh opinions on those kind of folks. But I think like build crafting in general, to do a lot of that stuff that you see out there right now, is going to be incredibly difficult for a good chunk of players, because not only are they going to need to like figure out what combinations are good, but then they're going to need to acquire the stats to make the thing good. Because some of those builds, like, you know, the clickbait could be, this grenade build kills everything. But if they don't have any grenade armor, is it going to work? And how are they going to figure out, you know, how to make their builds work? I think it's going to turn out to be pretty frustrating for a not insignificant portion of the community who isn't into figuring that stuff out themselves, or being able to figure out things that work for what they have, right?
It's actually a good point.
I feel like the fun side of the game, which is like, you know, finding a build or making a build that isn't like good but is fun to use, could either be really good in the expansion, because, you know, if you put on the stat, like, you know, 100 grenade stat or whatever, 100 melee, whatever, and kind of just ball out with some random shit you thrown together that's fun to use. Or it could also make the game kind of feel bad, you know, because, you know, you have to, without putting it, you have to sacrifice certain things to make other things better. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I have my super and my weapons do a bunch of damage, but like if I can't just use my melee or grenade like ever, that just kind of feels bad, you know. I feel like the game could just feel worse after this expansion launches. Like, that's what I'm kind of worried about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, again, like if you make like a grenade or a melee build and you have 100 of the grenade or melee stat, like that aspect of it could be a lot more fun. So I feel like it could either be really good for the game or really bad, because the game kind of just feels like shit. I feel like that is a possibility.
I think at the end of the day, like, I'm not gonna have a fully like fleshed out opinion until I get my hands on like this whole thing, which I think is true for a lot of people. But I can see it. Like, I think the thing is, like, I agree with Thunder. I can see this change going horribly wrong, and I could see it going like well, but not great. I don't really see a future of the game where this like goes fantastically, amazingly well, and the game is like saved because of this. I've talked to Thunder about this. The one thing about the dev team that drives me nuts is they just change things that just don't need to be, that nobody really asked to be changed, and it drives me up the wall. But again, like, I just felt like this like armor change was one of them, and it was kind of like, well, this can go horribly wrong, or this could go like okay. I just don't see this going fantastically well, like just from a player perspective.
Yeah, like when I saw they're working on like changing armor, it's like, okay, but the economy of the game is in fucking shambles right now, and we're not going to touch on that. Which, to their credit, they're making a new currency that like refreshes every 6 months. Yeah, but like when I saw the armor game changes, okay, well we're focusing on that non-issue when, you know, Zoetic hasn't been touched, the economy is awful, episodic stuff is awful. I mean, it just, yeah, same thing as Wave. It's like, why? Like, no one asked for this. Same thing with when they removed legendary shards. It's like, yeah, I know why they did it, but also like no one asked for them to do that. Like, just why?
Are you sure that nobody asked for armor changes? Because let me ask everybody.
No one. I've never heard anybody say I want armor changes. I've never heard someone say that.
When's the last time you got a piece of armor just to drop in the wild doing whatever that you did anything other than just fucking insta delete it?
It happens occasionally, like a few times an episode.
Yeah.
I got a good pair of Titan gauntlets. It's like 30.
I got.
I don't have a good pair of strength gauntlets on my Titan, so it was like a 30 Resil, like 20 strength, and I was like, oh, that's fire, and I actually put it on a bunch of my builds.
The Geomags I use like on my Arc Warlock right now, I got this season.
Yeah.
It happens. Like it happens for sure.
How much armor do you think in a play session are you just sharding right?
I'm not gonna lie. It's probably a lot.
I'm not saying the armor system is good right now, but just compared to other things, it's just a very much non-issue to me. You know, it's not like a big problem with the game. It's like sure a little one maybe, but not a big one. I feel like there's just there's more things they could have addressed than just guys, armor changing. Like okay,
but I also don't think that changing something just to restart a grind is like the move. I feel like if you at the end of the day, like they could have just adjusted the values for some other stat to be good. Like I understand like the whole thing is like everybody runs resilience in PvE. It's like let's shift something like with the numbers to make it so that okay, like Resil's not as necessary anymore. You can start putting like stuff into like intellect or like more different stuff. I just don't think a complete overhaul is really the move.
Well, I mean, they did do that with Witch Queen because before Witch Queen was just 100 recov and you're done. Then Witch Queen it became 100 Resil, then you're done. So they did do that. But people, like I said, they farmed Zolmak, got their armor, and they were done.
Ever since the beginning. Oh, sorry. You can keep talking if you want.
I mean, like I was going to go back to like the whole like unnecessary change thing. Like one of the most recent changes that like really annoyed me was the whole permaflag thing in GOS. Like, that was like, I don't think I heard of a single person asking for that change to be made. Which people have made the argument to me like they're just trying to make flags universal. I'm like, but like flags, like there was no downside to them not being universal, like at all. But it goes back to the whole like we don't like changes we didn't ask for, really. You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing. Oh, sorry. Do you want to continue? Or
no. Well, I want to say that I've been asking for reasons to farm armor for like 6 years. So you may not think that it was an issue, but I assure you, there's at least a few of me that did. One of my most favorite things to do in any MMO or game of service is to go into high content for that chance of getting that one piece of armor, that one thing. And one of the things that I've always wanted that would help that in Destiny, in my opinion, was armor bonuses or like set bonuses. So when they were announced, hoping they would be good, we're still yet to see if that's something that's good. When there's a new armor set, there's potential to have an armor set bonus on there that's actually good that will make me want to go and farm that armor set. I think this maybe not all the stat switching and all that stuff, whatever, that's a nothing burger, like you say, Thunder. But I think that the set bonuses for me are going to give me an actual reason to farm seasonal gear, to wear seasonal gear, to wear the new raid armor, to wear the new dungeon armor, the nightfall armor, whatever they throw into the game with new bonuses. I think it'll actually give me a reason to farm them. So I think that part at least is good, and it's something that I've been asking for since Forsaken, since Armor 2.0 dropped. So.
Yeah, I do partially agree with you. Well, also you're the first person I've heard, so ask for that. So congrats, you're number one now. But also I was gonna touch on Wave what he said. The whole like we don't want to farm for armor. I don't think necessarily true because it is a looter shooter after all. So like maybe not armor is the thing we want to farm for, but having more stuff to farm for is like not a bad thing. Which like at its core is not a bad change or like what they're doing. It's just. I think me and Wave's issue is just there's so many other things we'd prefer them touch on than armor, you know? Like, I'd love to farm armor, but, like, if the economy is still dog shit and it's, I can only hold 500k Glimmer and it costs, like, 100k to, like, fully upgrade armor piece to tier 5, there's still going to be, issues I want changed because, the economy is still shit.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've been lucky enough that I still have enough everything saved up that I've never had to farm for any sort of currency in 4 years. So to be fair, that can be a totally valid complaint about the game that I am completely unaware of because I'm lost in my whole little world of having tons of glimmer and just materials.
There are ways to circumvent the caps and to get this stuff quickly, but they're all boring.
Yeah,
They're all very boring.
It does, because
I'm just saying I can't speak on it a lot because I haven't experienced it because I was just lucky enough to have tons of that currency that they like. I still have planetary materials, just infinite amounts of them that I get glimmer. I can just trade them in for glimmer whenever I'm out, over and over and over again.
Yeah,
just stuff like that. So I can't say that it's good or bad. Well, I mean, that being a thing makes it bad in general, but also bad for the different reasons. Because you guys probably, you're doing Iron Banner engrams or something, trying to get in there 25,000 a pop or whatever it is, and you're out of glimmer constantly, right?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to touch on. Yeah, yeah, it does depend on like what you're doing in the game. You're not using a lot of glimmer, right? Mm-hmm. And like to be fair, the other stuff like cores, prisms, like golf balls, all that's fine. It's just glimmer because really it's just the cap only being 500k. If it was 1 million, like it'd be fine, right? But 500k is just way too little. To be fair, I didn't realize how I knew the economy was bad, but I didn't realize how bad it was until this episode. Because like when the Trials rework came out, like you said, 25k a pop to focus, a rocket or whatever. And so, I'd focus them, didn't get what I want, and then I would have to play as like 2 or 3 matches with like the ghost mod on at max to get enough to focus a single rocket, then rinse and repeat. And then like Rex said, the way to get glimmer fastest is to put on a glimmer tonic, tome glimmer thing, and go play an episode echoes. It's like whatever the longer activity is.
The one where you use the hammer to smash things.
Yeah. Which, I'm an avid not enjoyer of episode echoes or episodic content in general, so I don't want to do that. And then the big one is my stash of raid banners from like, when legendary shards were getting deleted. The, thousands I bought, those ran out because I obviously do a bunch of like raid, like solo low man challenges. So I was doing solo witness this episode. I ran out of banners like halfway through. So 500,000 glimmer gets you about 120-ish raid banners, right? Which sounds like a lot for most people, but in a single night of doing solo witness attempts, I can run through that in a couple hours. So I do 100 or so attempts of witness, and I'd have to go and play some random bullshit to go get more glimmer, then buy raid banners, come back, and if I don't clear, I have to do that all over and over again. So yeah, it does depend on how much glimmer you're using, but if you're like an avid like glimmer user, and especially at like the beginning of an expansion, right, when you're having to level up your weapons or use upgrade modules, just getting all the new stuff in a big content drop, the glimmer economy is awful right now. So seeing armor getting reworked over that being fixed was kind of like, bruh, what the fuck.
Smash cut to July 15th when AGreeNer signs into Destiny, only to find out all his planetary materials have been depreciated.
Then I'll know that what it's like.
Yeah, like I said, to Bungie's credit, they are adding a kind of refresh currency that goes away after 6 months or whatever. So yeah, if they lean more into those, then yeah, the economy might be fixed. But as of right now, my God, the economy is awful.
That's terrible to me because I can't use my current stuff for that. I'm like, no, I'm gonna actually have to farm. This is dog shit. But it makes sense. It's good for the.
Shall we move to weapons?
I mean, I think it's probably a good idea considering we should be done in 30 minutes and we've only done one thing.
Weapons is fast. All right.
Yeah, it really is. To be honest, it's not as big.
Weapons are tiered. Here they are. Tier 1 weapons are just like every weapon you get randomly today. 2 perks in columns 1 and 2, 1 perk in column 3 and 4. Okay. Tier 2. The only difference is that columns 3 and 4 are enhanced. So same number of perks as tier 1, but columns 3 and 4 come enhanced. Tier 3, there's double perks in 3 and 4. They're enhanced. Okay. So any of the weapons you're getting from like Rights of the Nine right now that are double perk and they're enhanced, the shiny drops for you. So roughly equivalent to a tier 3. Tier 4, it's double perks in all columns. All of them are enhanced, and it can also use enhanced mods. Tier 5, double perks in columns 1 and 2, triple perks in columns 3 and 4. Everything's enhanced, and the origin traits are enhanced, and it can use enhanced mods. Comes with an ornament. Comes with a special ornament for being tier 5. As we understand it, it's the same ornament for every tier 5 weapon right now. And then you can add an in-game kill effect. So you kill a mob with it. If you have the flare turned on, something will happen. Think sweaty confetti.
Are you telling me I can have sweaty confetti permanently?
Yeah, well, sweaty confetti is one of the options, but there'll be another option on all your guns as well.
I don't care if there's another option. I'm using sweaty confetti.
I only have 30 sweaty confetti mods left in my inventory, so this is good news for me.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm down to like 3.
Oh man, brutal! I was getting nervous.
I think this is whatever. I think most guns that you have right now are still going to be fine for basically everything.
Negative Nancy Thunder again. Yeah, this also sounds like kind of a big nothing burger, same as the armor. Like weapons, like you just get the 2 good traits right. You get heal clip and incandescent, and then you masterwork it, and then you're done, right? It's cool if it has 2 or 3 slots in like some weapon, like a very occasionally get a weapon, right? Like a Hezen with auto loading, arsenal, bait and switch, and honing, right? But that's not common. That doesn't come around much. Like primaries, again, heal clip, incandescent, repulsor, destabilizing, boom, you're done. I don't give a fuck about the other 2 columns. Origin traits. Like most origin traits are pretty whatever, right? You occasionally get one that's like the Vogue one or like the Doctrine one, right? But most of them are just kind of whatever. So because the tier 5 just kind of enhances everything, it's like, okay, you know.
We don't even know what enhancement really totally means on everything yet, right?
Yeah, but
it might not be the same as it is now. Right?
If all a tier 5 weapon does is just give you enhanced traits and enhanced origin trait, and that's like it besides like cosmetic stuff, then yeah, big nothing burger. I mean,
there is one thing a tier 5 gives you that none of the other types give you, and that is a better hedge against bad RNG because multiple perk options.
That's what I've always liked about the multiple perk options, right? That gives you a faster way to get what you want.
Yeah,
but in reality,
not like talking about like the whole RNG part of it, right? But just once you once you have a tier 5 gun, right? Like if I get a tier 5 of like, you know, an SMG, right, and it doesn't have heal clip incan, it's getting deleted just because it doesn't have the 2 good traits. Weapons at their core is just get the 2 good traits and then you're done. Like that's it. PvP maybe a little bit different because you actually need like a good barrel or mag, right? But PvE, just get the 2 good traits, maybe the good origin trait if there's multiple ones, and then you're done. So again, big nothing burger to me.
Sounds to me like they need to rework their traits.
I'm more curious about like the enhanced origin traits. I just like curious about like it's not real. Like I am kind of like again like people are probably gonna talk shit that I agree with Thunder on a lot of shit, but it's kind of true I do. But like I'm just more curious about like what is like enhanced time loss magazine. Does it give me a third rocket? That'd be kind of cool.
Like I said, the few like good origin traits, I mean like enhanced doctrine origin trait. I mean, yeah, but like most origin traits are very whatever.
I'm gonna be trying to get my god rolls in tier 5 just because, you know, big number, make brain happy, neuron activation.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's the same thing with current day adepts, you know? Like, yeah, they look cool. Like, the shader, I don't like it, but some people like the green and yellow. But, like, for an actual shooting shit, like, use case, it doesn't do much different from just a normal one.
Is my Lotus Eater adept? No. Did I continue grinding GMs after I got Zavala to just hand me a non-adept Lotus Eater that had the perks I wanted? Fuck no. I stopped immediately and went along on my business doing something else.
Yeah. So again, occasionally you'll get a weapon that like, yeah, you need or not need, but like want an adept one, right? Like again, like a Hezen or an Edge Transit. But 99% of weapons, again, you get the 2 good traits, then you're done.
Adept make brain happy. That's all.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, and hopefully the shader is also good. You know, like I really don't like the fucking puke green and piss yellow adepts we have right now. Surely we get like
do you
bright pink.
personally know you think, that are going to start bitching about vault space because they can't bring themselves to delete any tier 5 weapons they happen to get, no matter
Well,
how
they said
dominant
we're getting
are.
more in Revenant or Renegades, so I'm not worried about it.
I'm not hurting for vault space either right now.
Yeah,
I am hurting
I-
like a motherfucker. I actually can't wait for the Edge of Fate so I can just go through and delete a bunch of shit that I don't need anymore.
I mean,
I'm at-
who here has problems deleting stuff from their vault? My vault is sitting at 650, which is high. But I haven't cleaned it in a while, but I don't have a problem just
I
don't
do.
have an
I have
issue.
such a hard time.
I'm
I
at
never
680.
hold-
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Wave.
I was gonna say I never hold a weapon in like sentimentality. I just
Yeah, me
like
neither.
it's always like I just threw it in there at some point once upon a time that I just forgot it existed. Like
Yeah.
I walked in there and there was a 7 Seraph saw. I was like, what? Like what is that doing in there?
Yeah, I'm probably worse about it than most people. Mine's at 680, which I'm the type of person, I keep one of every dungeon and ray weapon just to have it because it makes my brain happy. But besides that, I only keep like high quality weapons in my vault. My problem is I have a lot of armor, like infusion fuel, right? I just hoard armor infusion fuel because I like to have it. So I have 680. Probably about 200 of that is probably just armor infusion fuel. And I also forget to delete stuff until my vault's like full. So I probably still have infusion fuel from like Lightfall just sitting in there that I need to clear out.
So
That's
I
my
used
problem.
to have that exact same problem, and then I changed how I managed my infusion material because I got real tired of my vault being full of shit I wasn't going to actually keep. I just have it there to juice other stuff. So I made a decision that I only keep enough infusion material on hand to fill one character's inventory, and I just move that shit from character to character depending on what I'm playing. And I never let it get above that because there's never been an instance where, say, I've needed more than 9 special weapons to be able to infuse to get through an activity, right? And
Yeah.
if there was a situation like that, I'm doing something really wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I started doing. I had another point I wanted to bring up, but I forget what the fuck it was.
I hate to say this because I'm included in the people, but it's straight up. If you are bad at Destiny, you have trouble with your vault. And let me explain that. I have trouble with my vault simply because I see perks and sometimes I know what's really good, but I don't know enough of how perks work together to know if they're good together, to know if they could ever be good, if they're just complete dog shit. So I go through it and I'll have one good perk. I know that's a good perk on a SMG, incandescent, perfect example. And then I'll have this other perk that probably sucks, but I'm like, but it has incandescent, so I'm gonna put it in my vault. I'm gonna put it in my vault. Oh, this sniper rifle has moving target. I love moving target, but it's got some shit perk on the other column. It's like, but I'll save them because it's got one good perk. Or I've got the god roll. I've got 4 god rolls, but my barrels, I don't know which one's the best barrel, so I just put them all in my vault. So that's why I have a problem with my vault, because I'm bad at the game.
So
now, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm bad at moving around and shooting and doing stuff, but I don't know the stat distribution and intricacies of every perk in the game and how they work with one another, which makes it why it's difficult for me to get rid of things, because I just don't know.
I don't think it's a skill issue for that. I think it's just like any other game that has a ton of shit in it. Destiny has an information issue. Like in Crucible discussions like a week or so ago, I asked, like, is there like a spreadsheet or something I can look at just to know what the best PvP stuff is? Or do I have to literally just like go, well, word to mouth or mouth, whatever, or like YouTubers? And I was basically told, like, yeah, it's pretty much just YouTubers or people telling you stuff's good. PvE, at least there is a giant spreadsheet I can look at to know what's good, right? But that spreadsheet is ran by a not big content creator. Like, he's a bigger one, sure, but not like, the big dogs you think of. So if you don't know who this person is, you probably don't have this spreadsheet, and there's really no way to know what's good.
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Exactly.
Thunder,
I
Thunder,
feel like it's an information issue with this game.
I don't know if I was in on that conversation or not, but there actually is a spreadsheet for Crucible numbers.
I'm gonna need that right now.
I have to dig it up for you.
Yeah, see, I'm a big spreadsheet guy. Like, I just want an infographic or something to look at to tell me what's good. I don't give a fuck about what people say. I just want to know, like, actually what's good, you know?
There are people who ask me, like, what is, like, good stuff to, like, they're like, I want to start rating. What is good stuff to get? I literally just send them the Aegis, like, shopping list.
Exactly.
And, like, and it's, they literally just get, they're like, oh, okay, so I go get this, this, and this.
Somebody send me all these lists. I don't know what the fuck any of you are talking about.
I'll send you the spreadsheet. But yeah, again, it's like a single spreadsheet ran by like a big, I guess, but not like, you know, he wasn't invited to like to preview the Edge of Fate shit, right? So if you don't know who this is, yeah, not big enough. Like the two YouTubers I use for info is Aegis and Llama, and Llama's even like, I mean, he's bigger, I guess, but he's not as big as even Aegis. So. Like,
listen, I'm gonna offend some people right now, but I just want to put an asterisk on what you're about to get from Thunder, the Aegis list. Aegis does some of his numbers are a little editorialized, in my opinion. He will sometimes say some stuff is dog shit, even though the numbers don't actually bear that out. So
yeah,
just keep that in mind.
But to his credit, whenever he is wrong about something, usually he comes back to say, "Sorry guys, I was wrong." Like multi-mock, he had multi-mock at like B tier or whatever for PvE recently, but like at the beginning of I think like Act 3 or whatever, he's like, "Yeah, I've underrated this thing. It's really good. It's an S tier now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've never I've seen him I've seen some like things where he's come across and you're just kind of like, okay, like I'm not sure about that one, Aegis. And then he comes back three days later. You're like 3 days later, like, hey, I was wrong. Sorry. Like, you know, like my bad, guys.
Yeah.
But generally, most of the stuff most of the info I've gotten from him is like, if you're a player who is trying to like not like really be optimal, but like do your part in a raid. Like, or understand why, like, when a Sherpa tells you, like, hey, we're going to use this, like, for this encounter, like, generally, Aegis is, like, we give most of the people who have that info got it kind of from, like, either word of mouth, but generally that word of mouth came from Aegis. Like, you know, if we're telling you, like, hey, like, we're using Queenbreaker here because generally it's the easiest option, most people have it, and Aegis says it does good damage. Like, so here, we're going to use this. Yeah. But, like, and he says certain things like are good, but am I going to use the redirection like shotgun? No, probably not. Do I want to have it just in case like it's worth having? Yeah, sure. I tried it. Like if somebody's like, hey, I'm going to farm lock set, and I'm not doing anything, sure, I'll go farm for that shotgun. But am I going to like use it? Am I worried about not having it? No.
Yeah, and I guess that's another part of like the info problem, I guess. Not really. There's a lot of like cope things, right? Like, you know, I have a full court grenade launcher, right? Like full court could be good one day, you know, but you know, you never know. Like fucking deconstruct, like that thing like before like final shape launch, like deconstruct was the big like this could be good thing. It turned out it kind of really wasn't. It's like there's a lot of like kind of this could be good things in the game. So people hold on to them or just kind of hear that they are good and then turns out they're just not.
Like elemental honing potentially has the highest damage weapon damage bonus of any perk in the game.
Yeah, but it's
how many
so
players?
To set up.
How many players are actually going to go through the like 7 steps you need to go through in order to get that damage bonus rolling and keep it going? There aren't a lot.
I've used honing one time since it came out, and it was for a solo witness, just because, like you said, the setup to do it, it's kind of hard to do that setup with 6 people on your team because people kill stuff way too quick.
Yeah. So I just listen. That we have gotten a little off track, but I just want to throw this out here. All right. For 99% of Destiny players, things like Aegis spreadsheet doesn't really fucking matter. All right. Yeah. You want those numbers if you want to be as optimal as possible. And a lot of people are just gonna say, well, that means it's the best stuff. I want to be optimal. That sounds good. But that's not gonna work for a lot of Destiny players. They just don't know it. here's the secret. All right, you find guns that you find personally fun to use. All right, you find a gun that's got a perk that's fun to use, and then figure out what other perks can make that more fun. And that's it. It's gonna make the gun feel better. It's gonna make the gun do bigger booms. It's gonna make the gun have higher damage numbers. Whatever it happens to be. It doesn't have to be the optimal perks that are out there on some spreadsheet somebody put out. More people need to play with these weapons and then decide if they like them. For instance, let me just throw out there. All right, Rose is undisputedly the best 140 in the game for PvP by the numbers. All right, it has juice stats across the board. For a lot of people, it feels good. For me, the gun feels like shit. I don't like the feedback I get from it, and it sounds like a rubber band gun. I cannot grok using it, even though I have a 5 out of 5 God roll. Do I ever use it in PvP? No, because I do not like how it feels. Therefore, just because it's a God roll doesn't mean it's good for me, and it will end up being deleted. It's fine. It doesn't matter, right? In PvE, it matters even less, because as long as you're not trying to one-phase a raid boss, as long as you're happy two-phasing a raid boss, you can use almost anything. So you might as well use the things that are fun for you, or that are, at least halfway efficient at whatever it is you're trying to do. Like any linear fusion rifle on the Witness right now, if you're standing behind 23 Titan barricades that are giving you lightning bolts, are going to be fine.
Yeah,
it's whatever.
That's it. I do want to add to everything I'm saying. Yeah, it really, in PvP, it really doesn't matter much, especially in pubs. Pubs use whatever the fuck you want. It's not going to matter. PvE, they're like the day one raid and maybe a mastered raid or mastered dungeon. Besides that, it does not matter what you use in PvE, really. Again, like I said, as long as you're comfy with 2 or maybe even 3 phasing a boss, you're fine. Like PvE, it really doesn't matter what you use.
If you need validation to make your brain happy that what you're choosing to keep is good, and you don't want to go through a spreadsheet, I'm going to try to keep myself from throwing up when I say this, but just go to like GG's Role Appraiser, look at your S-Class gun, and just keep it and go about your business. Just don't tell me you did it, because I'll flame the fuck out of you.
Don't listen. Hold on. I just want to talk on that, because I listened to your opinion about that once. You mentioned the same thing, and I'm dumb enough to go and look at it, but I'm even smart enough to understand that it doesn't know the difference between, like if a gun is good for PvP, then the only S tier rolls you're going to get are PvP. But that gun can also be good for PvE. Maybe it's not that good, but all those good rolls will be B and A tier, because everybody wants it for PvP, and it's based on what everybody wants, right? Yeah. It's based on what's most popular. Anyway, so the point is, don't necessarily go and do that right off the cuff, because the role appraiser doesn't really understand guns that are good for both sections of the game.
Yeah,
and it drives me nuts, because it's like, I know that's a PvE god roll, motherfucker. Why is it a roll? Why is it A? Anyway, I stopped even looking at it.
Yeah, and Dim's like what's good approval thing is even worse. Dim's is god awful.
That's because the thing about Dim, interestingly enough, that you could theoretically use Age's spreadsheet to do, is that the one that's built in the Dim is built off a list that somebody put together, right, and uploaded. Dim actually has the ability to read a sheet that you put together, that you can put in the parameters you want of what you're looking after, and it'll change those thumbs ups, those little thumbs ups it gives you, to the perks that you're looking for. So you can customize that if you want to go through the work of doing that, so that it's going to tell you what's good based off your own personal preferences. You have to actually know what the perks are that you want in order to do that, but
99% of people are not going to do that. Is the issue.
No, 99% of people are going to try to custom program their Dim, and all of a sudden nothing's going to have thumbs up, or everything's going to have thumbs up.
Yeah, and like we've said, for 99% of this game, use whatever you want. You'll be fine. It's just for the occasional, again, contest or maybe master activity, it actually matters what you're using. And also, we got to remember, me and Wave are both Sherpas for the Shrouded gaming community, so it's not our job per se to know like what's going to keep up with what's good, but it's kind of expected of us, as leaders of the actually playing the game side of the community, to know what's good and to recommend what's good. So that's why me and Wave pay attention to stuff like this. Like, yes, again, like a spreadsheet with what's good really doesn't fucking matter for most of the game, but since it is our job
also do
to play the
speeds and
game.
low mans, right? And so it matters.
Well,
it matters
yeah,
a lot for
yeah,
that.
Yeah, but just for again being Sherpas, we could tell people just to use whatever, just don't die. But since we are Sherpas, it's both our job to teach people and to also have it be a smooth experience. Because you could learn Salvation's Edge right in like a 5-hour run, but if you do a 5-hour run of raid, you probably don't want to do that raid again. So it's our job to both teach you how to do a raid and also make it not take 3 hours. So
I'll use an example here, like real quick. I can't tell you how many times I've been on like Nezarec or something, and I've been like, "Hey, we're gonna use like grenade launchers," and like some guy comes up with like an edge transit. And he's like, "Hey, I got destabilizing like something else," and I'm like, "Yeah, sure, that's fine. Like that's fine." Like it's like my whole thing is like, "Hey, like as long as you're like in the ballpark of what I'm asking you to use, like it's fine." Like like if like
I just use Thunderlord.
Yeah, I mean, literally,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. Like, Thunderlord, unironically, is good for pretty much every boss in the game.
Yeah, I mean, like if I was like in this, like if Sherpy's like, "Oh, I have Thunderlord," I'll be like, "All right, I'll slap on a div and let's all use Thunderlord." You know?
When Edge first came out, we were using fucking Sleeper Simulant, man. Like on Solar Surge week, we were using Sleeper Simulant on Witness, man.
Yeah.
Like it really doesn't matter.
No.
All right. Well, I think there's one more section we should cover before we wrap up tonight, Greener, and that's Power Grind and the Seasonal Hub, since they kind of go together.
I've totally forgot. I'll be honest, I totally forgot about the Power Grind thing. But obviously it was going to... What did you say? The Seasonal what?
The Seasonal Hub, since it plays into Power Grind.
You mean the portal?
Yeah, the portal and the Seasonal Hub. They're two different screens. They're two different sub menus.
Oh my god! All right, I wasn't watching the video when I was doing. I was just listening.
All right, here we go.
So it's a good thing Rec came prepared.
Let's talk about Power Grind. All right, everybody's being reset to power level 10 on July 15th. Okay, you're all going down to 10. We're all going down to 10. 10 to 200 is the persistent power range. All right, meaning that's going to be the highest power you can get to. That the power cap is 200. Right. 201 plus is the seasonal power range. So you can get up to 200 as like your regular power level, but then you can add to that, or you can get more power throughout the season. All right. And as far as we know right now, the number I've heard from multiple streamers is that 450 is going to be the mid-season cap. Keeping in mind we have these 6-month break seasons effectively, right?
Yeah. But does it kind of work off the same? Like this is like the one thing I did not really do much research on. Is it going to work off like the same thing where you like the XP you gain is going to go towards like your higher power level?
No. We'll get to that in a minute because bounty farming is basically dead. It won't even work. If you bounty farmed for July 15th, I'm sorry, but you have bounties for probably nothing. But let me. Here's how this works. All right, let's say you go into a season. All right, you go into the seasonal structure and you're at like 150, and you start putting seasonal. You start spending currency to get seasonal bonuses on your highest level gear that moves you up. If you hadn't increased your base power on that gear, on all of your gear up to 200, when all of your seasonal power goes away, you'll go back to whatever you were. All right. So let's say you stopped at 150 and you only increased a couple of pieces of gear that pushed your power up past 200, and those things would reset back down to 200 at the end of the season, and you'd start over again from wherever that power level left. Basically, what's going on here. All right. In order to, I've got this in two different sections, but we're going to go into the portal real quick, but we'll come back to power grinding. All right. The portal is going to be your one-stop shop for getting all your gear. And the reason I'm mentioning it here is because the portal is going to specifically list what rewards you get for doing the activities that it suggests. All right. Activities can have one of two, or they can have up to two different reward structures listed on them. One's going to be a base structure. It'll be something that's in gray on the activity that's going to say like 1 engram, or whatever, right? But some of the activities are going to have an engram in green as well, and it might say 3 bonus engrams, 2 bonus engrams, 1 bonus engram, this specific weapon, this specific armor, whatever. Those are extra rewards you can get for completing the activity. For the ones where it lists multiple, unclear whether or not those are going to, just lost my train of thought. I looked at the chat. Unclear whether or not you get all of those green rewards for the completion, or if they've got like, if it says like 3 bonus engrams, you can do it 3 times in order to do it. What we do know is that the green stuff appears to be daily rewards. So if you log in the next day, there might be more green engrams on activities. Might be the same activities, might be different activities. We don't exactly know yet. All right. You can level up through any of these activities. You can level up through group activities, solo activities, PvP, whatever. Anything that drops these engrams can level up. And none of these are capped. It's not going to be like it is today where you only have so many powerful engrams you can pick up, right? You can just keep grinding out these engrams until you're sick of playing the game. Shut it off. So theoretically, you could start one play session on January 15th and keep playing until you're power level 200 in that same week, without any break, if your drops come down correctly. All right. So there's no cap on how much you can level day to day. You can level as much as you care to grind. As you level up these activities, you will unlock, as you level up through doing these activities, you're going to unlock higher difficulty tiers for all of your activities. And higher difficulty activities will give you higher difficulty gear as rewards. Now, when you're setting your difficulties, when you have these difficulties unlocked, you can go in there and set modifiers to either boost or reduce the difficulty of them. And based off what you've put in there, the game is going to give you a rating of what it thinks that you're going to be able to do. But that doesn't necessarily lock the maximum reward you get from that. Like you could have a B tier activity based off the difficulty. And if you perform very well, which is a mixture of getting it done, not dying a lot, doing it quickly, you could actually get a higher reward than whatever B tier was. All right. Depending on how the game is recording how you're doing, maybe you get fucked and you get lower than whatever your difficulty was at the end of it. So that's a possibility based off what I've seen. When you then get this gear, you can infuse it just like you can today, but infusion has a variable cost depending on the power differential between the gear you're infusing into and the gear that you're using for infusion. So if it's only a couple of points, it'll be cheap. If you're trying to infuse like a 200 piece of gear into a 50 piece of gear, it's going to be very expensive. It could cost multiple cores, could cost multiple enhancement, not enhancement cores, the other material, the squares that I can't remember the name of right now. Upgrade modules. You will be able to use your enhancement cores to get gear up to level 200. After that, and this is what Thunder's talked about a couple of times, you have to start using unstable cores for 201 plus. Now, any infusion you do with these unstable cores is only temporary. That power bonus only persists until the end of the season. Then it all goes away. All right. You get unstable cores through a variety of things. Higher level activities will give you some. There are a number of them that are rewards on the seasonal track. But at the end of the season, all of your unstable cores, they evaporate. They get deleted. They expire. They're gone. You have to start that part of the grind all over again. And then for the seasonal hub, which is your progress for the season, instead of being able to see like, we're used to having like levels like 1 to 100 in the episode content. You can grind out that whole 100 or whatever, or 50 or whatever it is. You're going to be grinding out seasons week by week. Unclear if you can go back and do weeks that have already passed or not. But if that PvP mode that came through with the Briggs and the tanks, I forget what it was called, heavy metal or whatever it was.
Heavy metal.
The track that was on that is similar to how a seasonal hub is going to work. Right? When you go into the seasonal hub, it's going to tell you what week you're on. It's going to have a list of rewards you can earn. There's going to be daily challenges on one side and a weekly challenge. All right. Every time you complete a daily challenge, that's going to complete 1 level on your seasonal hub for that week. When you complete a weekly challenge, that's going to complete 4 levels on your tracker for that week. So you will have a total of 7 right there immediately that you can do. Supposedly there's a bonus for doing your first one of the week, and unclear whether or not like the reroll tokens that were supposed to be inside heavy metal are going to be here or not. I didn't see them on the tracks that were previewed, though there were parts of the tracks that the streamers were required to keep hidden, so we couldn't see them. So it's possible that you might be able to do more dailies, be able to reroll dailies or reset them, but we don't know. But that's how you're going to power grind. You're going to power grind to 200. From there, you're going to use the seasonal currency to level your gear higher. And then at the end of the season, all that power you loaded into your gear is going to evaporate. And you're going to do the whole thing over again the next season.
This is butt. No. Back in the day, well, okay. This is definitely interesting. I'm happy that the seasons are long now, like the seasons that they're going to be like putting this within. So you only have to do this twice a year, right? In theory.
Yeah.
They do increase halfway through. So I guess you have to do 3 months for your initial grind. Then there's a little bit more of a grind after that, after the 3 months. And then you get reset during like Renegade's time.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later, there's another little bump you can get. Right? I had to get that right? Okay. So, as a community leader, back in the day, I complained when they got rid of the seasonal power jump because it ruined any incentive to power grind. And I wanted people to be active, even if it was artificial. This sounds like a lot. I don't know if it's going to be, I guess. But
so we still have so here's the thing. Here are all right. It never feels good to have your power level, your power number stripped away. All right.
Yeah.
That bad feeling. Big number gets smaller. Make brain not happy. All right. Not being able to store the currency. Like, come on. Storing shit so you don't have to play the game has been part of the gameplay loop of Destiny for literally as long as I can remember, even in Destiny 1. All right.
AGreeNer was literally referencing it earlier.
That's always been a thing, right? That's why there's bounty farming. I think the fact that you're going to be able to do all of this grinding in whatever way you want makes it okay, because you can do, if you're a strictly PvP player, you can do all of your power grinding in PvE or PvP and never have to touch PvP. You'd never have to touch PvP or PvE. You never have to touch PvP if you're a PvE only player. And listen, I'm going to call some people out right now, but if you're a social misanthrope who refuses to get on a mic and play with anybody, you're one of those people that goes to the Bungie forums and says, "What do you mean I gotta do dual Destiny with another player? I don't like having to get on a mic. I think people are going to be mean to me, and I get anxious having to talk to other people in a multiplayer online game." Well, guess what? You can do all that power grinding all by yourself, because even in the solo activities, you're going to be able to juice the difficulty. So you go be a social pariah on solo island all by yourself and grind away to your heart's content, right? You can play the same solo activity 1,000 times to get your power level where you want it to be. It's fine. So I think these are all positive changes. I think the seasonal hub looks a little like a mobile game like menu, or the portal looks a little bit like a mobile game menu, but at least it's going to be super clear on the activities you can do right now to get drops, and we know that every drop is going to help increase your power level. There's no wasted drops up until you hit. So, I think that's all great. I think not having to cross your fingers that as I did one season and get fucking 7 energy weapons in the same week out of my powerful Ingrams, that will never hopefully happen again, you know, because I can just keep grinding until I get something else. Is it possible that Bungie just gives me 100 fucking weapons of the same slot in a row? Yes, that's possible. But the RNG seems to be stacked against that happening. So
No, it'll happen.
fuck you. As long as it doesn't happen to me, I don't care.
I think, well, doesn't the whole bounty prep thing? I know you've looked at chat and you saw what Grim said, but
I did.
Won't bounties give XP towards the artifact?
I haven't seen anything on that on the videos. The only
DMG specifically tweeted that the bounty farming isn't going to be a thing. I'm pretty sure.
He didn't say that exactly. He was not explicit about it. I forget exactly what he said, but when I saw his tweet, it was a little vague.
Because, like I said, from the
Let's see if I can find it.
The 90-minute long Aegis video I watched, he did a summary of the whole video, and I'm pretty sure he made a note that basically bounty prepping is pretty much only for the artifact. Again, I could be wrong, but let's say that it pretty much is dead, except it gets you the artifact faster. That means then yes, bounty prepping is dead for most people, but for people who are prepping for the day 1 raid or day 1 dungeon, whatever it is we're getting, right, then bounty prepping isn't dead for those people, because the artifact we're getting in Edge of Fate, assuming the leak is real and all those mods are actually going to be real, then not really a good artifact, like at least in the later columns, right? So, not much, but like a episode, like a Heresy's artifact, like if we got something like that, then yes, like bounty prepping is definitely not dead for the people doing the day 1. But again, the percent of people doing day 1 compared to not is low.
Keep talking.
What?
I mean, that's all I had. So.
I think for most of what people have been bounty prepping for in the past, it doesn't really matter anymore because there's no power, right? But even with all this going on, things like fireteam power level and all that are still there. So, like, if you've got one friend who doesn't play that much, they can still play with you, right? And they'll still be boosted up to you. So this is all good. I actually like this system they're gonna have for the power grind. I wish we didn't have to have a resetting power every season. But like AGreeNer, like once power grind went away, I lost a lot of reason to play. So
yeah, see, I just more for the bounty prepping part. I hate bounties in general. Like I cannot. This like I'm bounty farming for the raid. This is the first time I've ever bounty farmed because I didn't do it for Doctrine and I regretted it pretty quick.
Well, we love ascendant challenges. Woo!
Yeah, see, I like if bounty prepping literally only gives you the artifact faster, then that means on episodes or like expansion launches, whatever, that we don't have like a day 1 thing dropping with it, then that means I don't have to bounty farm really if I don't care about the artifact. So I like that it's a lot less of a necessity for players who aren't doing like the day 1, you know.
Just an FYI, so I don't scare everybody that may have been listening and paying attention at all. What DMG actually said was bounty prepping ? Already ? As with every annual release, a certain amount of bounties will be removed from the game. Team will provide details in a future tweet. So he didn't say anything like I said.
Okay, well, as long as they don't remove ascendant challenges, then we're fine. Because I have like 5 of them right now.
Yeah,
they're gonna be like all your weekly bounties are gonna expire on July 15th.
Dude, I've got like 5 ascendant challenges and a Europa one on almost 3 of my characters. Dude, if those shits get deleted, I'm uninstalling the game.
We're gonna be like, I'm sorry for everybody who did ascendant challenges and everybody who did all the fucking Empire hunts. That shit's all going away.
I'd assume that just means seasonal bounties, right? Like, obviously those are getting deleted, right? But like, why would they delete like ascendant challenges and Europa weeklies? Like, why?
Maybe they just delete completed ones out of people's inventory, but they leave them in the game just to fuck with you.
That dude,
I'd be clocking out the Death Sea. Sorry,
that's key that I'm playing another game.
Yeah, be like, I'm out of here. Fuck this place. Where's Warframe? What's my Warframe login? Anyone?
Yeah, I don't know why. The Division 2. Going back to the Division 2.
I'd go to the Division 2. They've got some new content just dropped.
DLC release you dropped.
Yeah,
dropped
dude, I'm gonna go pro in Sea of Thieves. That's my next career path.
I tried the Rocket League, did not work out, dude.
Yeah, I'm not good enough for. I got plat in Rocket League once and it was over.
Went to a
My son
Worlds
plays
event
Rocket
and
League.
saw how
He's
bad I was compared to all the actual pros, and I was like, oh, this ain't happening.
He's really good on it, but he learned how to play on keyboard, and everybody tells him to play on controller, and he doesn't want to redo the process of learning how to play on controller. So he's just, I don't know. He was really high in the rankings over. Oh, I'm not sure what they are. Do you know what they are?
Yeah,
If
but
you say them, I might remember.
So it goes from bronze to silver to gold. Then it's plat, diamond, champion, grand champion, and then the last one is supersonic legend.
Okay, no, he wasn't that high. It was higher than plat. I'm not entirely sure. It might have just been diamond. But either way, and I was like, I watched him play, and I think it's amazing. Like, obviously, I see pros that are probably like the grandmaster or whatever you just said, and they just do crazy shit that makes no sense. They keep the ball in the air for 87 years. Like, it's absurd. But I was like, bro, no, you should absolutely do it. You've got the game sense down. You need to learn how to control the car on a controller. I don't think it would take that long.
As a person who probably has about 5,000 hours of Rocket League,
yeah,
everybody who's telling him to get off keyboard and mouse is 100% right.
Yeah,
like he 100% needs to get off of keyboard and mouse. There's stuff you can do on controller that you just can't do on keyboard and mouse. If he wants to,
he's worried about
higher,
relearning, and just being bad for like a few months. And I think the general concept of a game like that is you know how it works, you know how to play. You're really good. You've gotten to a certain point. You've only played for a few months. Like, it's not a crazy amount. I think you could, once you learn how to control the car on the keyboard, on the controller, you're most of the way there because you've already got the knowledge.
We're getting off topic here, but I'll tell the final thing about Rocket League is the game is 90% game sense. Like you'll make grand champion off of game sense. Like,
that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
That's what I keep trying to tell him, but he's young and he's just he doesn't like delays. So he'd rather give up playing than relearn how to play on controller. And I'm like, you're fucking nuts.
Yeah, that's excessive.
Yeah, but he's also like incredible at Fortnite. Like, so he could just go play that. Like, incredible. I can't even understand what's happening on the screen when he's playing. And I'm like, brother, you need to stream. Like, I guarantee that people would watch you play. And he's just like, nah, I'm not interested. And I'm just like, go make me millions of dollars. He's really good. Like, I see people playing Fortnite all the time that are like really popular that I'd be willing to doubt. And he's would be willing to say that he's as good, if not better than them. But in that game, he's got the movement and control ability, but he doesn't have as much game sense because I'll watch him play and make a stupid decision and lose that game. But he can learn that. But the way he can build and shit and how fast it's unreal. It's absurd. It's absurd. I don't even understand it. It makes no sense to me sometimes. I'm just like, how do you even know what you're doing? Does anyone play that at all? Play Fortnite at all? I don't, but I watch him play. And
I do every once in a while, but my Fortnite Prime was years ago. I was like unironically pretty good, but not anymore.
I have no number one victory royales. Sorry.
And
I even have one victory royale, brother. Come on.
In my Fortnite peak, I almost qualified for the World Cup, but that was so many years ago. Now I'm ass.
The only time I played Fortnite was before there was even a BR associated with it.
Oh, back in the Save the World days. That's funny. I don't know how good he is in terms of like professional but like if I sit down and watch him play a game, like I'm legitimate, like 9 times out of 10 he just wins it. straight up. And he's always playing ranked. Like, he's not playing against just a bunch of bots. He's really good, but he just won't stream. I don't get it. I'm like, bro, just stream. There's two things to streaming. You either need to be incredible at the game you're playing or entertaining. That's it. I have neither one of those things. You have one of those things, at least. You might be entertaining, too. I have no idea. Get on there. Make some money. I need to pay off my mortgage, you know? What's the worst that could happen?
AGreeNer's all, get on here and make me some money, child.
Well, he's 13, bro. If he made money on Twitch, I'd have to claim it anyway.
Work, child, slave on Twitch for me. Have you done your 8-hour stream?
He's good enough. I'm saying. I think he's good enough that he could. He'd be able to bypass the entertaining part.
AGreeNer set up a channel for him on Twitch just called Fortnite Sweatshop.
He had. That's really funny.
Fortnite,
that's a good channel.
that's
He has
crazy.
He has a channel, and he always, when he was like 7 or 8, he wanted to become a content creator. He was obsessed with it. But now that he's 13, he just doesn't seem to care. He's changed his point of view in life. Oh well, we got off topic there. Apologies, everybody.
Okay.
And we're over time as well. So I mean, it sounds like Thunder doesn't give much shits about anything that's happening.
Like I said, if the raid's good, I'm happy. That's all I care about.
I'm pretty. I think I'm excited for the changes, even though it means I have to play more Destiny. But I think I'm excited for them, so I'm stoked, and hopefully it gets the community excited, because I'm always pumped when our stats are high. I'm more excited when the community's happy than when I'm happy, to be honest. And I'm reading our chat now because I forgot to announce our winners, so we're gonna do it right now at the end of the podcast. Woo! Does anybody want to give any other opinions before the end on what you think so far of the Edge of Fate? If overall you're happy or you're just nothing burger, as to what the information we've at least been given thus far.
As the number one Bane hater in this game, when I saw the infographic of like 7 new Banes they're adding, I got really sad.
Fair.
If they put them in the day one raid, I'm gonna lose my mind. So
I hate.
You better not rage quit.
I'm not gonna rage quit, but I'm gonna be whining the entire time.
God fucking damn it.
To be fair, I don't mind some of the Banes. Most of them I don't even notice, but I hate that one that sucks you to death.
The Void Drain. Everybody hates the Void Drain.
So
okay.
I was doing Ultimatum Prophecy yesterday, and in Final Boss, the ogres that spawn once you dunk the things. Yeah. I had a Drain Bane ogre spawn. It drained me for all my health and killed me before it spawned in. Like I literally could not fight back because it was in the spawning in animation. So, that's not very fun to play against.
Yeah.
Also had a Hypernova spawn mid damage phase, which that's like whatever, but still. I don't like Banes. I think they're really dumb.
I think my Bane experience was I was doing Ultimatum Ghost. I had like a zealous acolyte just spawn right when I punched it, and it exploded and killed the other zealous Bane acolytes. It just spread and caused a chain reaction, and I couldn't. There was no counterplay. Woven Mail, Banner of War. I died instantly. A horrible death.
Yeah,
brutal.
If they want to put Banes into stuff, fine. But just do not put them in the Raider dungeon. That's my only request. Put them in anything else, just not the Raider dungeon, please, Bungie. If I see a Rage Bane Minotaur in the day one, I'm closing the game. I'll actually just close the game. I don't give a fuck.
Smash cut to Wave reaching out looking for somebody to replace Thunder in their day one.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see that thing go.
This guy's the IGL and he's like, I'm just leaving.
Where are you at? Where are you at in the raid? We're still trying to open it. Thunder just left.
If I see a Caltrops Bane Hobgoblin, dude, it's so over. Like, oh my god.
Caltrops made
What
Hobgoblin.
happened? He killed the Caltrops Hobgoblin. It dropped a bunch of shit, and then a rage thing hit him while he was in the middle of it, and he just said he made some noise like ah, and everything went silent, and he was gone. I don't know.
I just heard Discord disconnect. That's all I heard. This is
Yeah, you just hear the ah, and then the that's it.
Like,
And then he's gone forever. Well, I don't have to worry about that on day one because unfortunately this year for me, for anyone who doesn't know, I am unavailable to do the day one raid, and I'm pretty sad about it.
It's so over.
They just picked the worst fucking possible time for me, and it's not their fault. It's whatever. They got to pick a time, and I'm sure every weekend is bad for somebody, but I am super annoyed that it's the weekend that's bad for me. Obviously, the weekend after that's bad for Destiny players. A lot of them are at GCX. The weekend before that would be perfect for me, but this weekend, the weekend of the day one raid, I am doing a family reunion, so I just cannot get out of that, and it makes me a little sad that I can't do the day one raid. So I won't even be back by Sunday to try to get a carry.
Yeah.
If it's not like if it's like Ron level and not Salvation's Edge level.
Yeah,
So.
This is the second raid in a row that, for at least for me and Waves team, it's the worst week possible. Like 3 people on our team can't do it because of they have a trip on like that weekend.
It's the middle of July. It's like trip month. Like I don't know.
And Salvation was in the middle of finals week, so like our best player was just running like for day 2 of our run, they were on like 3 hours of sleep because of finals. So yeah, we have 3 subs for this raid. Geico was potentially going to be a fill. He's going to be climbing Mount Fuji during the raid race. So, yeah, we're down to 3 subs essentially for this raid.
Well, I'm busy that weekend, and then next week I'm in Orlando. So, and then, like I said, the only weekend in July I'm off is the weekend before that. It would have been perfect, but it's just I guess they decided that they wanted to drop it on the 15th instead of whatever days before that. The 8th.
Yeah.
The 8th would have been awesome. Do the raid race on the 11th would have been perfect for me. Oh well, it's okay.
Hey, just want to throw out there that whoever would normally carry AGreeNer at the end, if you're doing carries, you just go ahead and hit up old Mr. Wreck, because I'm probably not going to do it either, because I'm not built for day one freshes anymore.
Well, you did day one Salvation's Edge with me. We did fine. We didn't get anywhere, but we didn't get angry at one another.
I can't be doing like an 18-hour day of just being stuck in a raid anymore. It's too much.
He was probably so mad at everybody.
The day one of Sundered was better because my team, we were having a good time all the way through, and the moment we got to the point where we're like, all right, starting to get a little annoyed, starting to get a little tired, we were just like, that's it, stop. We're just gonna go do it on regular and call it a day. So I don't think I'm built for, it's not the difficulty of the stuff, or that, you know, the repetition of having to do it over and over again. It's the amount of time it takes. Like, I can't do that shit anymore. I'm too old.
Yeah, see, like Edge was rough, but like the 2 done so far in terms of like, you know, the day one, there's 2 easy or like normal encounters, and then there's 1 hard one, right? Because Vesper had Puppet, which was like pretty damn hard on day 1, and then Doctrine had Lock Set, which like wasn't super hard, but it was definitely the hard.
Stuck.
Yeah, like Lock Set was definitely the hard encounter of that day 1. The rest of it was easy as fuck, but
I got stuck in Lock Set too. I was with Fallen from Wolves and Lighthouse from Fury.
Yeah, my team. I think our clear of Doctrine was like 10-ish hours. We spent 7 of those at Lock Set. It was bad.
Yeah.
I think we went for 12 hours. I was on the front page of Twitch that day, so we waited until that was over, and it's an 8-hour window. So once that was over, we dropped off.
Ours ended up being, I think, like 11 something.
I went in the next day with Grim and someone.
Sad.
Who was it? Was it Logan? No. It was somebody not. I'm pretty sure they're not in the clan. They just play with Grim. Maybe they're in the clan. I can't remember.
Maybe Kenji or Sartosh, maybe.
No, none of those names familiar.
Tolosa?
I can't remember who it was.
CT, yeah, maybe it's CT.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. And it was Grim and someone else for Vespers too. Like it's always Grim and somebody that carry me to a day one on the dungeons at least. Salvation's Edge, nobody offered it, and that was okay. I was totally fine with that.
Salvation was a whole other beast.
I was just, Grim always DMs me. I don't know why he wants to get me through them. But yeah, there was no DM on Salvation's Edge, and
that's because he was busy locked into the war room with other people, being like, once we're done, now I gotta go see if I can help other people do this, but I'm not actually doing it. We're just gonna tell you what to do. You know?
And then I did Ron myself. Like our team actually cleared Ron. I forget what. Oh, Crota's. I didn't do well in Crota's, and I didn't get an offer for a clear for Crota's.
Yeah, it was Tolosa was helped you with a doctrine. Say SCT.
Oh, okay, CT.
And then Vesper.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Was it Brooke?
Yeah, it was Brooke and Grim for Vesper.
Okay.
Let me just reiterate that if anybody's looking to help an old man do any day one raid clears after the fact, you just I'm only a DM away.
So yeah, fucking Edge. Yeah, Grim cleared with his team, and then he was with my team for like 10 hours, dude. Oh my god. But not 10. It was like 5 or 6. He was with my team basically like that whole second night.
Yeah. Either way, we've gone on long enough. This was a great conversation, I think. Great episode today. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. I got to announce the winners real quick, and then we'll do an outro. Shout out. We have 2 weekly winners each week. Each week. They win 2,300 weekly silver and an SGC T-shirt. The winners this week, the weekly silver, go to the one and only Wolfie. The T-shirt goes to Devilito 666. And then this is the first podcast of the month, so we announce our monthly winners. We have 2 monthly draws as well. One for 6,000 silver and one for an SGC premium hoodie. The winner of the 6,000 monthly silver is CCX Leo X04. And the hoodie is Dredgen Ewok. That's it. You're the winners. Congratulations.
Dredgen Ewok. What a name.
What a name. What a name. If you're a winner and you're watching this live, you can DM me in the Discord, AGreeNer, if you didn't know. If you stumbled onto this podcast and you want to know how you can win, you should join our Discord, shroudedgaming.com/Discord. We're a big Destiny community. Come check us out. And we'll also teach you how to use our loyalty point system to enter these giveaways. If you're watching this on YouTube, same thing. Just come DM me, and I will send you a form to fill out a link to fill out a form, so where you can claim your prize. Boom. Okay. Once again, guys, thanks for coming on here. Great conversation today. It's been incredible, amazing. It's nice to have such knowledgeable human beings on here to make me look less stupid. So appreciate it. And I guess, outro. Thank you so much for watching episode 111 of This Week at Shrouded. I was your host, AGreeNer. Thanks to our guests this week, Mr. Wrecked, Thunder, and Big Wave Dave, for their amazing commentary. And that's it. We're out. We'll see you next week on This Week at Shrouded.
I can smell you.
Bye-bye.
They should me and Wrecked yell on the mic again.